Ready? Rotarians and guests, welcome to the June 16th meeting of the Rotary Club of York. Our members are dedicated to service above self and Rotary's four-way test. And speaking of the four-way test, one of the tenets is, will it be beneficial for all concerned? So especially for our in-person audience, please make sure that your cell phones are silent because that will definitely meet that part of the test. Leading us today in our opening song and pledge is past District Governor Dick Brown, and providing our invocation is Steve Feldman. Dick.
Good afternoon, and please join me. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesty above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
A memo to the file. Just because you're vaccinated doesn't mean you can't catch a cold. Let's pray together. Lord of all people, sometimes when I start our conversations by saying I'm grateful, it sounds a little smug in my own ears. And if that's true, I ask your forgiveness. But the fact is, I really am grateful. I'm grateful for simple things like a good meal served by nice and kind people, and we're grateful for the people who prepared it and gave it to us today. We're grateful for a beautiful day. But we're also grateful for unusual things, like I get to see my new granddaughter for the first time next week. And I'm grateful for our speaker today. I'm grateful for her passion, for her example and her mission. And we ask your blessing upon her as she continues to express important things about people that we know you love, but that we often just don't see. We're grateful for Rotary, and we ask your inspiration that we can live up to the ideals that the Rotary Club expresses. All this we ask in your name. Amen.
Steve and Dick, we're grateful for that warm welcome that you provided to our meeting today on a lovely day. It's exciting to have guests join us. Should I stand closer, Ben? Sounds a little reverb. Okay. Welcome to our guests. We're happy that you're with us today, and we welcome you to join us at any time in the future on Wednesdays. Guests, when I call your name, please stand and remain standing until all of our guests are introduced. And members, would you please hold your applause till all of our guests are introduced. Visiting Rotarians, we have District Governor John Anthony and Melissa Kopp-Smith, our District 7390 Executive Secretary, as well as President of our district's newest club, our Passport Club. For our guests, we have Delma Rivera-Lytle, guest of our speaker, and Kate Barclay, daughter of Ben Hoover. Are there any other guests that I need to be introduced? Okay, members, please help me welcome our visiting Rotarians and guests. John and Melissa, we appreciate your strong, steady, and successful leadership of our district during challenging times. Next, I would like to read a resolution of respect for Ann Hoover. This was approved by our board of directors last week. Resolution of respect. Whereas Anne Bruin Kramer Hoover was born on September 12, 1941 in Mount Holly, New Jersey, the daughter of the late J. Elton and Eleanor Kramer, and whereas Anne graduated from St. Mary's Hall, now Doane Academy, an Episcopal prep school in Burlington, New Jersey in 1959, and earned her BS in education from Beaver College, now Arcadia University, in 1963. And whereas Anne was active in many organizations, including the Strand Capital Performing Arts Center, now the Appel Center for the Performing Arts, she received the Mayor's Award for Support of the Arts in 1984 and the Founders Award of the Strand Capital Performing Arts Center in 1994. I'm sorry, the Mayor's Award was 1984. Her support spans decades. And the Founders Award from the Strand is 1994. Whereas Anne was an honorary member of our Rotary Club for 13 years, enjoying the fellowship of fellow Rotarians, and also was a Paul Harris Fellow. Whereas Anne was the wife of Benjamin A. Hoover II, MD, for 58 years, mother to B. Andrew Hoover III, Catherine Kate Barclay, who's with us today, and Jonathan Hoover, and grandmother to Hannah, Gavin, Garth, and Philip. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Directors, officers, and members of the Rotary Club of York on this day, 10th day of June, 2021, express their deepest sympathy to the family of Ann Hoover. Be it further resolved that this resolution of respect will be forwarded to the family of Ann on this day. Ben and Kate, may your mother's and your wife's spirit and love and happy memories comfort you. Well, as I said last week, sorrows shared are halved and joys shared are doubled. So we have our dose of both today for our club to share and to celebrate. So as vaccines are on the rise, as cases are on decline, and as restrictions are lifted, you feel like we're on a roller coaster here. On behalf of our board of directors, we are very happy to share some exciting news with you today. Beginning with our July 7th meeting, the weekly meetings of the Rotary Club of York will now be buffet style here at the Country Club for the luncheon format, and members will no longer be required to register. I'm sure that's a convenience for you as well as it is for our hardworking staff. We will have meetings in person here, but we will also continue to work with Ben so that we can live stream meetings via Zoom for those who are unable to attend in person. It is my hope that we will see more of you here at our meetings for fellowship and networking. We are featuring an excellent speaker for President. We always feature excellent speakers. Let's just get that out of the way. But we are featuring a particularly excellent one for President Jackie's first meeting. Please join us every Wednesday, and especially as we fully reopen our meetings on July 7th to hear comments from York City Police Commissioner Muldrow. Congratulations are in order for two of our members, Layla Charnetska and Cal Weary. Layla has taken on a new position, and as a result of that, she is unable to continue her membership with us here at the club. We all know how engaged and involved Layla was, so we know that at some point in time when the dust clears, she'll be back as a member of our club or possibly another club in the district. So as a result of Layla's membership resignation, that created a vacancy on our board of directors. And according to our bylaws, our board of directors have the responsibility to fill any vacancies of board members or officers. And being people of action, thank you. Rotarians acted quickly upon hearing this news, and I'm very pleased to announce that last Thursday, our board of directors voted unanimously to approve Cal Weary to fill the open vacancy in our seat. So congratulations to you, Cal. Our Youth Exchange Committee will meet on the 17th at noon via Zoom. Student education scholarship interviews will be held the 17th right here at the Country Club. Our Charitable Endowment Fund Board will meet on the 23rd at 1 o'clock, also here at the Country Club. Please mark your calendar and save the date for 2 upcoming events. First is Friday, July 30th, Rotarians Networking at the York Fair. Did I hear that right? Rotarians Network in July at the York Fair? Well, that's a twist. So very exciting to see what a summer fair brings to our community. More information about this will be available in the coming weeks. And to share the second save the date, we will hear from Darren Smith. Darren, what we really want to hear is how's Henry, but I know you have an announcement for Love for Community.
Hello, everybody. Darren Smith here. Talk to you about the Rotary fundraising event coming up here in September. Before I tell you about that, I wanted to tell you I was standing in front of the mirror before I came over here, and I was really proud of myself because after 16 months, I remembered how to tie a tie. So I was very happy with that. But then I'm on my way over here and I realized I forgot my notes. So that put me back in place. So I'm going to try and wing this and see if I can get all the information out. So I want to start with thanking you all for how generous you were with the Give Local York event that was this last. I know we already talked about that. We raised over $12,000 and really, really proud of that. We did raise more than that in 2020. So I know a lot of you are going to come out stronger this September, for that golf event. The golf event is September 13th. So I want you to save those dates. If you have a calendar, please put it in your phone now. That's Monday, September 13th. It's golf, it's tennis, it's croquet. There's cornhole again this year. And then of course the dinner and silent auction that evening. So the rain date is September 27th. Doing pretty good here without my notes. So put both those on your calendar, pencil that in for the second date as well. You all received, speaking of the fundraiser committee, you all received an email from Jackie Summers a couple weeks ago about committees and joining committees and really becoming a member of the club like more fully and participating. And so there's a lot of really worthy committees in this club, but I want to say that the fundraising committee I think is the best. And so we have some open seats on our silent auction committee that's part of this. And it's a really fun position to be in because the silent auction, you reach out to all the people with those fun prizes like trips and the baskets and gift certificates. So it's one of the best ways, I think, of networking with members in the club. So if you're newer to the club or you're just looking to get some more inroads and meet some new people, it's a really fun committee. I mean, our event involves drinking. So, come on out and have some fun with us. And I think you'll have a really good time. So email Lynn or myself. You can look me up, Darren Smith, give me a call, and we'll be happy to just tell you more. There's no strings attached to any of that. And let's not forget what we're doing this all for. So we have some great charities, and I don't have my notes, so I forget them, but I know it was the Sparrow Club. I know it was the Children's Child Care Consultants. There's the Bike for Humanity, the York Little League, and there's one other one that I can't think of at the moment. So 3 things you're going to do. If you want to sign up for the committee, you're going to email Lynn or myself, contact us just for more information. It's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to save the dates, September 13th and the 27th. And that's it. I look forward to seeing you all. Oh, one last thing. You're going to get an email. How do you sign up? If you have something you want to donate for the silent auction, let's say you have some really cool thing or you have a service, maybe you want to put on a dinner, you're going to get an email very shortly with the brochure for this event, probably this week, hopefully, or next week. There's sign up forms and all those where you can sign up for the golfing, the tennis, and all of those things, or you can proactively send that in, fill it out, mail it in, and we'll get you all signed up. Also, the committee members are going to be reaching out to you, so we're going to be emailing you directly. We're going to be calling you. Please just reply to their email or reply to their call. Just let us know what you can donate, how you'd like to get involved, or if you can't, that's fine too. We fully understand, but we're looking forward to getting you all signed up and out there for September 13th on your calendar, and look forward to seeing you all then with all your support. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Darren. We appreciate your leadership and that of your committee to produce this special event that impacts so many in our community. And September 13th is the date. If you had a chance to watch the magic on the clay on Sunday during the French Open, that was some great display of champions and inspiration for the tennis compadres. But whether you're using a club or a racket or a mallet or your own elbow grease, it is a great event for networking, as also doing supporting great causes in our community, as Darren said. Next, I'd like to welcome, not Diane Marino, but past District Governor Patty Rooney to deliver a very special honor for our very own past District Governor Ben Hoover. Patty.
Thank you, President. And by the way, Darren, I couldn't remember how to tie a tie, so I was forced to wear a collar. Fellow Rotarians, as we all know, this disjointed time caused by the pandemic has disrupted all of our lives and our schedules for the past 16 months. That's schedules. I don't get to say this many more times. It's disrupted our schedules for the past 16 months or more. The result that it was that I, along with many others, found our plans and our intentions sorely disrupted in March of 2020. I was then still serving as the district governor for our Rotary district here. One of the great joys at the end of the year of service as district governor is the opportunity to recognize individuals who have given so much to our district over the year and over a lifetime of service. But alas, that was not to be. And that's particularly disappointing for me because one of the awards that I was looking forward to presenting was to be the recognition of a man who has exemplified for me and countless others the spirit and the presence of Rotary in so many ways over the years that it is almost impossible to count. But today, we get to rectify that omission and now come to present a Rotary Lifetime Achievement Award to Dr. Ben Hoover. Now, most of you know that Ben has been a member of this club and of Rotary for more than 50 years. But there are members and there are Rotarians, and I believe that Ben is one of the latter. His work, his service, his commitment, and his dedication all speak to that presence that Ben has been recognized in our community as a true servant leader and one who is passionately committed to our common purpose and goal of being a true Rotarian. His servant as president of this club and then as district governor in the year 2008, 2009, under the theme, Make Dreams Real, is a goal that he has continued to exemplify from that day to this, with his ongoing involvement in club and district committees, particularly his chairmanship of the Global Scholar Grant Award Committee, all of which speak to his desire to put service above self. Additionally, Ben has been a mentor to many Rotarians who have followed him in this club, and I count myself as one of those fortunate enough to have benefited from such mentorship. When I was thinking about applying for the position of district governor, Ben was one of the first people to whom I spoke. His support, his encouragement, his kindness urged me forward, and when I assumed the office in 2019, there was no one else that I would have wanted to have put my district governor pin on me than Ben Hoover. Now, it cannot be denied that many special people have served Rotary over the past 100+ years of our existence. Many have been examples of dedication and commitment. Many have served long and faithfully. And today I wish to add to their ranks another man who has truly exhibited all of these qualities and more, and done it in abundance. A man who has shown himself to be a model of true service above self. A man who has truly lived a lifetime of service to others. My fellow Rotarians, I would ask you to join with me and congratulate our friend, our colleague, and our fellow Rotarian, Dr. Ben Hoover, as we present him with this Lifetime Achievement Award on behalf of our club, our district, and Rotary International. Congratulations, Ben.
Thank you so much, Patty. First, thank you for the resolution honoring Anne. She was indeed a remarkable woman. Everything we did with the approval and support of the other. We joke that we were better at working than we were at playing. Not that we didn't also have a lot of fun together. Anne's last public event was this club's 100th anniversary dinner dance. At the reception, Patty came over to Anne. They had worked together at the York County Council of Churches. And knowing Anne's condition, he came up and introduced himself. Anne replied, "I may have Alzheimer's, but you are unforgettable." Secondly, thank you, Patty, for presenting this very special award. I must credit and share it with Anne and with this club. Anne and I hosted more than a dozen youth exchange students and group study exchange team members. We attended 6 Rotary International conventions, 5 zone institutes, and 1 international assembly where we met in San Diego with all 534 other district governors from around the world. And when I was district governor, she visited all 50 clubs with me. 22 of them were breakfast clubs, and most of the boards met before the meetings, meaning we had to be on the road very early. We saw more sunrises together that year than in the rest of our married life. I'm a 3rd-generation Rotarian. My father and grandfather were Rotarians, my brother, 1 sister, several uncles, and even my father-in-law were all Rotarians. On March 3rd, it was 50 years since I joined this club. My sponsor was past District Governor Bill Langston, who had delivered me at York Hospital 33 years before that. This club supported me when I was president in 1979-80. And led by David Polk and Don Butcher, you turned out in record numbers for my 2007 Rotary Foundation dinner in this very room, for my 2008 installation, and under co-chairs Di Hershey and Bob Davis for the 2009 district conference held here in York. Thanks also to our family, represented here today by our daughter Kate Barkley, and to our club secretaries, from Emery Seitz to Bert, and now Lynn Morrison, and to honorary member, District Executive Secretary, Melissa Kopp-Smith. I can attest that the more active I became with Rotary, the more I learned about the breadth and depth of the work done by Rotary International and our Rotary Foundation, and the prouder I am to be a Rotarian and a member of this club. Thank you very much.
Wow, that's definitely a joy shared. Congratulations, Ben, and thank you to you and your sidekick, Ann, for your legacy of service to our community and our club. You're certainly a true Rotarian and well-deserving of this honor. Very nice, Ben, thank you. Now we have a poll in honor of Father's Day. We did one for Mother's Day, so we're an equal opportunity club. We want to recognize you dads in the room. What does dad really want for Father's Day? A phone call from my kids, a big juicy steak, peace and quiet, taking in a ball game with the family, or an adult beverage? I think for Mother's Day, the adult beverages won out, right? But I don't know if you still have some gifts it looks like we probably have a lot of dads in the room, but maybe there are some moms and daughters online. But there's this book by Justin Halpern, and it says SH*T, my dad says. I don't know if any of you have read this, but as you're thinking about the poll online, I heard my husband chuckling a lot when he read this. So I looked at about 50 pages and couldn't share any of that content today. So the one that I found Now, this is the dad asking the question, but the topic is on my bloody nose. What happened? Did someone punch you in the face? The what? The air is dry. Do me a favor and tell people you got punched in the face. That's one of the clean ones from this book. Ben, how are they coming in? What do our dads want to celebrate this Sunday?
Yeah, it looks like about 30 of you have voted that are online right now. We have about 41 of you online. And of course, we probably have some daughters, some wives that are online too. So maybe this is something that you're thinking about as to wishing, to that father that's in your household. So I'm going to share these results right now for everybody to see that's online. It looks like 33% of you, 10 of you have voted a phone call for my kids. That's the heavy favorite. In second place, 17%, a big juicy steak. So there we go. And then we have 13% tie is peace and quiet, taking in a ball game with the family. And then with 7 votes, I'm sorry. So this is actually second place right here. An adult beverage, 23%. So phone call for my kids and an adult beverage is the heavy favorite.
The steak, the beverage, and the phone call, it's all wrapped in one. Well, to introduce our speaker, we have past President Brian Tate.
So before I get to the main attraction, I do want to share with you that I'm also repping another young woman this week. You all know, or most of you know, I'm a proud Spring Grove graduate, and my friend Haley Flickinger is in Omaha at the Olympic trials this week, and she's already made the U.S. team in swimming, which is fantastic, but her better sports in swimming are later this week. So get behind me and get behind her, and let's cheer on another wonderful Yorker who's out there doing great things. But right now, I have some questions for you. Show of hands, who here has ever heard of Miss America? You know, the iconic Atlantic City Boardwalk swimsuit pageant. Okay, everybody in the room. Maybe some of you have heard about how the pageant has transformed over the years from a beauty pageant to become a promoter of volunteerism and social impact and scholarship for women. So next, who here has ever met someone who competed at Miss America? Okay, maybe a third of you. Well, today you're going to meet someone who has, and I think you're going to quickly fall in love with her like I did. On June 15th, 2019, Tiffany Seitz was chosen Miss Pennsylvania at the Miss Pennsylvania competition at Penn State York's Pulo Performing Arts Center. She's a resident of Freeport, Pennsylvania. She's a graduate of Grove City College with a Bachelor of Science degree in entrepreneurship and a minor in communications. Tiffany's presentation today is her social impact initiative, Adoption Advocacy, Restoring Hope, Transforming Lives, which is extremely personal to her, which you'll find out. And it drives her passion to educate the public about fostering and adoption, ultimately helping children in the system to find forever homes and keep their dreams alive. Having gotten to know Tiffany over the past 2 years, I can tell you that Tiffany is an intelligent and accomplished woman. She inspired the Pennsylvania Senate and House of Representatives when she addressed them in their chambers during session in 2019. And while competing at Miss America, Tiffany was the candidate chosen by People magazine to feature her story. So Rotarians, please join me in welcoming Tiffany Seitz, Miss Pennsylvania 2019-2020.
Well, hello, everybody. Thank you so much for having me today. It is truly an honor to be here with you today and to be with you in person. I am very, very blessed and very honored to be here today with you. So I want to thank you first and foremost so much for inviting me to come out to be with you today and to speak about my social impact initiative, Adoption Advocacy, Restoring Hope and Transforming Lives. Thank you, Brian, so much for your wonderful introduction. I really appreciate that. And it's been an honor and a privilege to work with Brian over these last 2 years of my reign as Miss Pennsylvania 2019 and 2020. I also want to say thank you to one of our board members and Rotarian John Kleindens. I would like to thank board member Delma Rivera Lytle, who is my guest today. Thank you, Delma, for being here. And I want to thank my executive director, Debbie Butcher, and her father-in-law, our bookkeeper, Don Butcher, who is a retired member of the Rotary Club of York. I also want to note that we are here in York, Pennsylvania today and this week for the Miss Pennsylvania competition, where I will crown my successor. But it's wonderful to be here representing the largest Rotary Club in the world, a 106-year-old Rotary Club living service above self. So it is wonderful to be with you all today. So Brian gave you a brief introduction of who I am. But I am a resident of Freeport, Pennsylvania, which is near Pittsburgh. So I apologize if there are any Ravens fans in the room. I am a Steelers fan, so apologizing in advance. I live about 30 minutes north of the city of Pittsburgh. I'm a graduate of Grove City College. I hold my bachelor's degree in entrepreneurship and a minor in communication studies. And for the last 2 years, I've had the honor and pleasure of working the dream job of Miss Pennsylvania. And right here, this photo you see is a photo of me in 2019 being crowned Miss Pennsylvania, which was a dream come true. But one of the reasons I will tell you I love this photo is because I look at the reaction of the women behind me. And that is perhaps the most memorable moment of my life, because I know that they truly, in their heart of hearts, were very, very happy for me and my victory. And still to this day, that means the absolute world to me. So for the last 2 years, I have been doing a plethora of things. I have been doing a variety of appearances, whether that be virtual or in person. I know I really got about 8 months of service in before COVID had unfortunately cut everything short, but it taught me to be adaptable. It taught me how to think fast on my feet and to figure out a new way of bringing my message to people, even that if that was for a period of time entirely virtual. I've also had the pleasure of being the ambassador and spokesperson for the Miss Pennsylvania Scholarship Foundation. And I know a lot of people think about Miss America and Miss Pennsylvania as somebody who wears a crown and sash and who goes around to events and basically their job and their only job is to be pretty and to do whatever they're told. But I will tell you that it is a lot more than that. This job has taught me how to be an employee. It has taught me how to be a good ambassador and a good spokesperson, but it's also taught me the value of scholarship and what it means to be educated and the importance of being educated as a woman. And so I'm very grateful to have had the opportunity to represent this life-changing organization. So I'm actually the only woman to ever hold the title for 2 years. So I know that COVID has done a lot of damage and has caused a lot of sadness, but I think that this right here, for me at least, is the silver lining in the clouds, because I do have 2 of these sparkly sashes, which is actually really great. So I am actually the only person that can say that I have 2 sashes. So I'm definitely not complaining about that. So this, I think I may have skipped a slide. Oh, I skipped a few slides. I'm sorry. So how I got involved. So I like to tell people, if anybody's familiar with Bob Ross, I like to think of my involvement in this organization as a happy accident. And I was doing a favor for a friend in college, and I had ended up meeting the judge's chairperson of one of our local competitions, and I decided to give it a try. And my very first try, I ended up placing first runner-up at that competition. And so I came back, I competed at that competition once again, and I won my very first title that took me to Miss Pennsylvania in the year 2018. And I competed as Miss Butler County, which is where I'm from back at home. And so I did not place that year. I did not place at Miss Pennsylvania, but I will tell you, I came back with a wealth of knowledge and a wealth of experience. And I'm very grateful for that year. Even though I didn't win anything, I find that perfectly okay, because I won a lifetime of friendships and a lifetime of networks and a lot of experience that I really had the value of learning from. So after I competed in Miss Pennsylvania 2018, I recognized quickly what it means to be part of this organization and what this organization can do for young women, but most importantly, the platform that it provides for women to speak about something that they care about. And for me, that is foster care and adoption, which I will talk about a little bit later. So I actually competed at another competition that same year. I placed first runner-up, and I was not planning on competing that year, but I was actually... a woman had dropped out, and I had gotten a call around Easter time 6 weeks before Miss Pennsylvania that then the directors had asked me to compete on very short notice. And so I ended up there. I ended up winning Miss Pennsylvania, and that's actually a photo of me performing my talent at Miss Pennsylvania at the Pullo Center at Penn State, York. It was a wonderful experience and one that I will never, ever forget. But It is actually, the Miss America organization is the largest scholarship provider for young women in the world, which is not something that a lot of people know. As Brian introduced, he mentioned to you that Miss America actually started out as a swimsuit competition on the boardwalk of Atlantic City to keep tourism and to keep tourists coming to that area. But little did anybody know, and I didn't learn this until I got involved, is that it is actually the largest scholarship provider for young women in the world. And so not only is it the largest scholarship provider, but it is one of the largest platforms for women to be able to talk about something and advocate for something that they are especially passionate about and they care about a great deal. So a little bit about my story. This is my family. And as you can see, there are many different faces and none of them look alike, I think is perhaps the most unique part about this. My start to life was an unfortunate one. When I was born addicted, cocaine positive, and I was not expected to live beyond 2 weeks. And doctors told my parents that if I was expected to live beyond 2 weeks, I would come with a myriad of health complications and basically one that would render me unadoptable. And so 24 years later, I have the honor and privilege of standing before you, not only as Miss Pennsylvania, but simply to be alive. And daily, I find myself very, very grateful for that gift, as I know not everybody is as fortunate as I to find a family that I have. I have two wonderful parents that you can see in the middle there, and I know you can see little 10-year-old Tiffany there. She's kind of frowning, but I promise you she's happy. And above me is my brother, Sean, my sister-in-law, Lacey, and to the left is my brother, Antoine, sister-in-law, Dana, and below is my brother, Richard, who actually has autism, high-functioning autism, Asperger's syndrome, and my niece, Jordan, my nephew, Zachary, and my other niece, Alyssa. So we have quite the family, and that family has grown since that picture is taken. But I will tell you, it's been such a blessing to be raised by two wonderful parents, and not only two wonderful parents, but two wonderful parents that didn't have to take me and my unfortunate story and my really hard background in, but made the active decision and chose to do that, which I will forever be grateful for. You know, I think to myself, you know, I am adopted and I'm actually the only member of my family that is adopted. Unfortunately, my brother Sean passed away at 26 from a very rare form of cancer. And he, as a child, was actually prostituted and sexually abused. And they believe that that's ultimately what led to his death at the young age of 26. But each of those people in there, myself included, have a wildly different story than I do. And it wouldn't be mine to tell you, but every time I hear it, I'm reminded of how blessed I am and how grateful I am to be not only in this position and here with you today, but simply to be a recipient of the gift of adoption. The only photos I've ever seen of my biological parents are mugshots. My biological mother was murdered in Homewood, Pittsburgh when I was in 8th grade, and the first time I ever saw her face was in a newspaper article. And I remember eating dinner with my family one evening, and I remember seeing my biological father's mugshot on the news as well. And I'll tell you, that impacted me because that's not how I want my children to see me. And quite frankly, that's not how I want anybody to see me. And so I think this organization has given me a new sight as to what it means and how it is to be perceived. And I'm unbelievably grateful for the opportunity to be standing here today. But not only that, but to be making people proud with my decisions and with my choices and how I choose to conduct myself. Because in the long run, it's very important. And it didn't end, unfortunately. Ended very unfortunately for my biological parents and family. But I'm grateful that it will not end that way for me. And so that is because of the gift of adoption. Like Brian mentioned in my introduction, I was chosen as a featured candidate to be featured in People magazine. So as a matter of fact, that article actually went live the day of the Miss America final competition and was seen by over 35,000 people nationwide. And so to think that my story has reached so many people is truly a humbling and sobering moment for me, because really it's just my story and it's what I tell people, but it's so much more than that in retrospect. And this opportunity has told me and has taught me that it is so much more than that. One of my favorite things from my year, as a matter of fact, is that I had a very quick conversation very early on in my year to someone about my personal adoption story. And I had met with this person's husband, much, much later in my year. And I remember him approaching me and telling me that after the conversation that I had with his wife, which was very brief, they decided to foster a 17-year-old girl because they had heard of the impact and they had heard of my story. And so that perhaps for me is the best part about my year. And so it's been wonderful. So my social impact initiative, there's a photo of me here giving my social impact pitch at the Miss America competition. And basically what a social impact pitch is, it's very similar to a TED Talk. We had about 1 minute and 30 seconds to share our story. And so for me, sharing your life in 1 minute and 30 seconds can be challenging, but I think it provides a good snapshot for people to understand who you are and why you're passionate about it. There are almost 500,000 children in the United States who currently reside in foster care, and about 15,000 of those children reside here in the state of Pennsylvania. And so it's been my pleasure to be able to advocate for them. But the reason that advocacy is so important is because the kids, their future is out of foster care if they're not adopted. They're not so bright. A lot of them will end up homeless. They will end up suicidal. They'll end up addicted to drugs. And so it is very important for me as an individual in this role that I hold today, and only for 4 more days. It's very important for me to share that in hopes to inspire people to get involved in the fight to keep children from those unfortunate fates that they may face aging out of foster care. I've had the opportunity, as Brian mentioned in our introduction, that I addressed the State House and Senate at the Capitol building of Pennsylvania, and what a pleasure it was. I did that during Adoption Awareness Month, and perhaps one of my most proud moments was to be able to, attempt to work with Karen Boback, who heads up the Children and Youth Department for the Pennsylvania Capitol. And so I look forward to hopefully working with her after my year to continue to advocate for children in foster care, not just in Pennsylvania, but hopefully nationwide and possibly worldwide. Because even though my reign ends on Saturday, that does not mean my advocacy will stop for the kids in foster care. And so I'm hoping to do very much in addition for them. So it's been wonderful. I know that the Miss Pennsylvania Scholarship Foundation, I will forever be grateful for this organization and how they have paved the way for me to be able to continue to advocate for these kids and to continue to fight on their behalves. And it has been such a wonderful journey. And it's hard to believe after 2 years that this journey will be coming to an end. But like I said, the advocacy will not come to an end, and I am looking forward to seeing other ways that I am able to get involved to advocate for children in foster care who are much like me. And, oftentimes those kids don't have a spokesperson to go out and speak for them and to tell them how important it is to get involved in the fight. And even though you might not feel called to foster, you might not feel called to adopt, but there are other ways that you can get involved, that you can be just as impactful on those children. And I know that it would mean the absolute world to them for you to get involved in the fight. So I want to tell you, I'm very, very appreciative of you having me here today. And so I'm hoping that you will please join us for Miss Pennsylvania Week down at the Appel Center, June 17th, 18th, and 19th. So my photo there is actually taken at a very familiar spot to some of you, I'm sure, at the Box Hill Mansion. And so I hope that you will consider joining us for competition this week. We have 37 amazing women competing for Miss Pennsylvania and Miss Pennsylvania's Outstanding Teen. And I would quite frankly stand here all day to tell you how absolutely incredible they are. And I know that there will be a wonderful woman to fill my shoes this coming Saturday. And it's hard to believe it's winding down, but I'm very, very excited to pass the torch on to the next girl so that she can advocate and that she can get out there and fight for the thing that she cares about. So our Thursday night show is going to start at 7 p.m. Our Friday night show, where we will crown Miss Pennsylvania's Outstanding Teen, will start at 5 p.m. with a gala to follow at 8 p.m. And our Saturday night, where I will crown my successor, Miss Pennsylvania 2021, who will go on to compete at the 100th anniversary Miss America competition. It will take place on Saturday at 7 p.m. with an after party to follow at the York Central Market House. And so with that, everybody, thank you so much for having me today. It has been an honor to be with you and a long-awaited appearance. So with that, I will take questions for anybody who would like to ask. Yes. Yes, sir.
One is, did you benefit directly from scholarship money for Grove City or for some future scholarship?
Yes, so I'm going to repeat the question for those who are listening online. So I was asked, do I benefit directly from the scholarship? And does it go directly to Grove City? Is that your question? Yes. So I actually won $8,250 in scholarship money that actually goes directly towards paying off my school loans. So it actually goes straight to my debt. So we have a wonderful scholarship sponsor who, and Miss Pennsylvania 2021 will actually win $10,000 in scholarship money this year that will go directly towards paying for her education. And additionally, we also have a plethora of wonderful in-kind sponsors, York College being one of those in-kind sponsors as well. So we have, I believe, York College, we had DeSales University in 2019, and we also have Kutztown University, who our executive director, Debbie Butcher, is an alumna of. So yes, the scholarship money goes directly towards paying off school loans so that we can eliminate debt.
And the second question has nothing to do with scholarship, as these people here mostly know. For years, I've been a trumpet player, and back in the day, I used to play for the Miss Pennsylvania Finals.
Oh, wow.
When they had live bands. And that's my question, does anybody hire live musicians anymore?
Well, I was asked for our listeners online if anybody hires live bands anymore to play for Miss Pennsylvania. So the answer is, the short answer is no, not as often. But, I wouldn't be mad if you came to make a guest appearance at our competition this coming Saturday. I'm sure we could find a way to put you to work. I will tell you, I cannot play any instruments that you can blow into. I do play the piano, but I can't play any instruments that you blow into. So we will leave that job to you if you would like to come. So we will find a job for you for sure. Yes. That's a wonderful question, and one that I have been thinking about lately. So my plan for afterwards and how I plan to use my degrees, one thing that I would have loved to have done, and one thing that is still my goal, is to have my own dance studio. I've been a dancer for over 20 years and I am trained in all styles of dance. And I currently teach back in my hometown in a town. I live in Freeport, but I teach in a town called Saxonburg, Pennsylvania. It's a very, very small German town. And so my dream has been, since maybe I was a senior in high school, to own my own business and to run my own dance studio. So that's part of why I chose the discipline of entrepreneurship. Additionally, not only to run my own dance studio, but I think it's my entrepreneurship degree has really helped me do the job of Miss Pennsylvania. But as far as using those in the future, one thing that I'm seriously considering doing is that we do have DeSales University as a sponsor. And one of the things that they offer is an accelerated 1-year MBA program. And so I love business and I love what I do here, and taking that into the real world, I know is going to be something, it's going to be a transition for me. And so I'm looking at doing that 1-year accelerated MBA program and possibly doing some business consulting. So right now that's a plan in space. That's the short answer. So we'll see where life takes me, because I might have I always tell people man plans, but God laughs. And so, that's kind of how I ended up here. Yeah. I tell people I wrote myself a note my senior year of high school. They asked me, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And I said that I saw myself going to school in Philadelphia, having a degree in music performance, and I don't. And here I am. So that is my plan as of now, but we will see whatever happens afterwards. Yes.
First of all, thank you for coming. I was not aware of your story at all. You really are a credit to your mission. And I was going to say, well, after Miss Pennsylvania, what do you do? I'm glad you want to start your business, but your speaking skills, your presentation skills are outstanding.
Oh, thank you.
I don't know how this relates into continuing, say, the sponsorship or the promotion of foster care and awareness, but I think if there were a way for you to continue what you're doing as Ask Miss Pennsylvania or something, I think you have a big future because your presentation skills are outstanding.
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. I really enjoy these types of things. I love sharing my story. I love sharing, my heart and my passion for things. And I think that's, when you're passionate about something, I think that will convey very naturally. So I appreciate your compliment. That really truly does mean a lot to me. So I will definitely consider doing something like that in the future. I think, you're onto something there. I might find myself there. But thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yes.
Just thinking about your recent comments about speaking and how much you enjoy being here, how about your most memorable group or place that you've spoken on your tour?
There are quite a few of those, considering it's been 2 years. But I will tell you, one of the most memorable things that I have gotten to do, and it's been a few appearances, but I've gotten to do a lot of work with the Milton Hershey School out in Hershey, Pennsylvania. And it's funny, I grew up actually going to a church youth convention right across the street from their school in the Giant Center. And so I remember when I first drove to that appearance and I drove up to the school, I was like, why does this place look so vaguely familiar? And it's so funny, for years and years, I had passed that school, never thinking that I would be able to get involved and never really knowing what the actual mission was of that school. And I will tell you, it is absolutely phenomenal. And it is full of kids, specifically girls I've worked with, that have a very similar story and start to life to me. And I won't say that the Milton Hershey School is exactly a foster care foundation, but they take in troubled kids and they live with host families. So whatever may have you with that, but I don't think that they ever get adopted or fostered. So it's a little bit of a different organization, but one that I have found extremely valuable for me to share. I've gotten to do a lot of appearances. I've done appearances with their elementary, middle, and high school girls. And so to be able to speak to and inspire them has meant the absolute world to me, because I can't imagine, had I not been adopted, I may have been in a situation that is very similar to what they are in. And so I use my job as Miss Pennsylvania to be able to speak and to inspire them, to do the best that they can considering their circumstance. And one motto that I've continually shared with a lot of groups of people is that where you start does not determine where you'll end up. And so to be able to speak that message to them directly has been one of the most impactful things for me. I think about, a lot of people think this is about changing other people's lives, but I will tell you, the extensive work that I've done, it's also changed me. And I am very, very fortunate to have had this second year, not only for personal and professional development, but to be able to recognize the reach that I have and to be able to reach double the amount of people that I would have been able to in a single year. And so with that, I would have to say my most memorable appearance would be anything that I did with the Milton Hershey School, because it's full of wonderful kids with bright futures. But I think sometimes they need reminded that their futures are bright. So it's been a wonderful 2 years, but I would have to say, out of everything I've done, that might have been my favorite. Yes.
Tiffany, what are some of the fun things that the women competing this week are getting to do?
Oh, well, we have a schedule full of fun things. Oh, sorry. Yes. No, thank you for reminding me. So Brian had asked me, what are some of the fun things that I and the candidates are doing this week for competition? So we began yesterday. We had a press conference and arrival ceremony at the Colonial Courthouse in downtown York, Pennsylvania. So that was great. We also got a tour of the Colonial Courthouse. So I'm a huge history nerd. I tell people that all the time. If I didn't major in business, I probably would be a history teacher, and I would probably have my own segment on the History Channel, because I watch it all the time. So we actually got a tour of the York, the Colonial Courthouse downtown, which was actually very fascinating. And that was great. So after that, we went, checked into our hotels, had a little bit of downtime to relax. And then we went to go to a York Revolution game where I and my teen, Riley Evans, got to throw out the first pitch. And me and my shoulder blade are still feeling the results of that today. I'm very sore. So my 1 year of baseball experience at the ripe age of 9 did come in handy yesterday. So that was great. We did succeed. So we had a great time there. And right now, as I speak, our candidates are rehearsing at the Appel Center for the Performing Arts. They're working on opening number, the blocking of our show. So we are going to be there until very, very late tonight, probably about 11 p.m. We only have one day to put this show together, because our preliminary nights of competition will begin tomorrow. And then we will compete. We will compete Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Friday night, we will compete. We will crown our new Miss Pennsylvania's Outstanding Teen. And then Saturday, we will crown our new Miss Pennsylvania. However, in the morning, our Miss Pennsylvania candidates will actually be going to visit the Goodridge Freedom House, which is a part of the Underground Railroad houses that still stand to this day, which is wonderful. So I'm glad that we are able to take some time again to learn some very relevant history while we're here in downtown York. Absolutely. Any other questions? Yes.
Tiffany, I have a question for you. It's a two-part one.
Yes, ma'am.
You mentioned that there are 37 young women competing.
Yes.
And there's 67 counties in Pennsylvania. Could you address that disparity? And then if, with your success with your public speaking, having competed, if there's one question that you could insert into the competition to ask all those contestants, what would it be?
Sure. So your first question about our counties. So not every area of Pennsylvania is represented. And the reason for that is that our organization is made up of volunteers. So wherever our volunteers are is where our local programs will pop up. So for instance, we don't have a whole lot of programs out west, which is why we don't have a lot of representation out there. The only representation that we have out west is from Butler County, Moraine State, and the Laurel Highlands area, which is a big stretch. But I think part of the reason for that is that maybe there's not an awareness in other areas. Now, granted, due to the pandemic, I know that, and due to the shift and the actual changes that have come from the Miss Pennsylvania and Miss America competitions, there were a lot of locals that unfortunately weren't able to be. And in order to compete and in order to hold a local, you have to have a certain amount of candidates participate. So I think maybe part of the reason is that there are people that have signed up, but unfortunately they didn't get enough people to sign up and unfortunately had to cancel. So that, I think that's part of why there's not every county represented. However, we are also, I know that, Debbie and Brian work very hard to grow this program. And so hopefully one day we might be fortunate enough to have every county in Pennsylvania represented, which would be a huge undertaking, but I don't think it's impossible. So we've got a lot of great people and we are making a lot of connections in a lot of areas. And so I think hopefully we can fix that disparity in the future to award many more young women more scholarship dollars, because I don't think anybody can complain about more money. That's never a bad thing. And to address your second question of if there was a question that I could insert into the competition, and I'll tell you one thing about my Miss America interview and one thing that I wish that I were asked is why I wanted to be Miss America. And unfortunately, that was never asked to me. And so I think that we owe it to every candidate competing here at Miss Pennsylvania and Miss Pennsylvania's outstanding teen is why they want to be Miss Pennsylvania, and to let them have that moment to share their passion for what they want to advocate for, how they plan to use the job, and ultimately why they want this job. Because I will tell you, and I speak for all of the women that are competing today and have competed last year and in previous years, they work tirelessly and they work so hard to get here. And it is not an easy road. And so I wish, and I tell them all the time, I wish I could crown all of you, because I think each of you has a little bit of Miss Pennsylvania inside of you. And each of your years would be uniquely different, and you are all equally as deserving. And so I think if there's one thing that I would ask everybody, and make sure everybody is asked, is why they want to be Miss Pennsylvania and why they are here. Because I think that allows you to hear their passion. Because I mean, I'll tell you my opinion on politics and how I feel about controversial topics is not really something that's been terribly relevant during my year. And I think what fuels my year is the passion that I have for it and why I wanted the job. And so I think we owe it to every candidate to let them talk about why they want to be Miss Pennsylvania. Absolutely. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you all so much for having me.
Tiffany, thank you so much for sharing your why with us. Thank you to Brian and Debbie and Lynn and Delma and John and all those who support this amazing contest and this amazing program for our young women in our state. And I'm sure your parents are so proud of you, and we are really proud of you for your service, for representing our Commonwealth, and for doing that for 2 years as well. As Jim said, you really do give credit to your mission and to the organization, and your speaking and presentation skills are excellent. My sister says that too. People plan and God laughs, and you're good at what you like, and you like what you're good at, and you have gifts, and it's wonderful, Tiffany, that the organization allows those to be on display for you to be an advocate for foster care and adoption. So thank you very much for also encouraging us to get involved and be impactful. You have a very heartwarming story to share, and we wish you the very best of luck in your future. It will be a bright one, and we welcome you back anytime to join the Rotary Club of York. Thanks for wearing the sash and performing the duties for 2 years. There's someone in the audience who I know is happy not to wear the pin and share the service for 2 years, and that's District Governor John Anthony. But we thank you for your service for the past year, John. Thank you. So, Tiffany, we have a book that we started several years ago, asking our speakers to sign a book plate that will go in this. It's called The Little Engine That Could, and by Walter Piper. It will be presented to the YWCA in Hanover. Their childcare, maybe an adopted or foster child, will wind up reading this book with your name on it. Tom Donnelly told me years ago, every blessing is a mixed blessing. And I'd like to thank Mike Summers. And I'd also like to say, what the heck, Mike Summers? Next year or next week, your program will feature the United Way of York County. I'm really appreciative for that, Mike. But gosh, following two amazing speakers, oh my goodness, with Stephen Martinez last week and Tiffany. Holy smokes, this is a setup. So very much looking forward to seeing all of you next week and sharing a little bit of what I do on my day job. Our closing song features Taj Mahal and Jack Johnson. This is one of my husband's favorites, Further Down the Road. I hope you all enjoy it. Have a wonderful week and take care.